YouTube, I'm back with another video. I just got through watching this show, and normally I watch show reviews, and I don't do them, but on this show I gotta communicate with my YT community because this is really different. I was watching TV one day this week or whatever, and I saw that they were having a show on the FYI network called Married at First Sight. And I was like, wow, this is really different. I was like, let me record this because I know I'm going to forget about it and I'm not going to watch it. And sure enough, I forgot about it. I wasn't watching it. So today when we got up this morning, the commercial came on again. And I was like, oh yeah, I did record that show. So I watched both episodes that recorded because I decided to record the whole series because this is actually pretty interesting. So what happens is they did a casting call or whatever, I guess for like dating with experts or whatever. And they got all these people to come in the room, and then they explained to them that this was a social experiment and they were going to find you scientifically the perfect match for you, and they were going to, y'all had to get married at first sight. And I was like, okay. So of course a whole bunch of people just bolted out of the room. So then they narrowed it down to like 50 people stayed. And then they started giving them personality tests and interviews. So one was a spiritual advisor. He was a chaplain at some university. Now, don't get me wrong. One was a sexologist. They had a clinical therapist and some kind of other therapist. And the four of them found these matches. And they were supposed to get married at first sight. So the first hour was all about the whole process and why they decided to do this, and the people were legally married. They had to stay with each other for like a month, and then they had to get divorced. There was no annulment, which I was like, okay, this is really weird. But then they kind of like explained it as modern day arranged marriages, and arranged marriages have their pros and their cons, in my opinion. So I was like, okay, I'm into this. So they got down to the next hour, and they paired off two people. They had an African-American couple, Monet and Vaughn, and they really, from watching the show, they seem like the most compatible. From watching the other show and the things that they've done, excuse the background noise, the boys and my fiance in there talking and Xboxing. Then they had another younger couple, Courtney and Jason, and then they had another couple, Jamie and Doug. Now, the Jamie and Doug one, we'll get into that in a minute. So they went through, and the couples are, telling their family and their friends, and their family and friends are like, they're crazy. Now, let's get with Vaughn and Monet. Vaughn and Monet, they seem compatible from the studies because they both were real close to their fathers. Her father's in the Air Force. He's ex-Air Force. She's looking for a more traditional role. He's looking for a more traditional role. They have similar faith bases, but they don't really get into the faith-based things because you know how TV and religion is. So they seem the most compatible, and they were like telling their friends, and her friends were like, this is crazy, but we support you, girl. Maybe this is the one, this is the way to do it, blah, blah, blah. His friends were like, are you serious? But, good friends will support you even if they don't really feel like this. And they were like, you really gonna get married? I wouldn't do that. Are you crazy? Everybody has that opinion. Are you crazy? What is going on? So moving on to the next couple, Jason and Courtney. Courtney's a makeup artist, and she does something else. Don't give me the line because I can't remember what else she does. And Jason is a wrestler and a EMT that wants to be a firefighter. They both have really, really busy schedules. She is in a burlesque group. They seem compatible because they both are into doing other things, wrestling, burlesque, and she has her other career, and I cannot remember what it is for the life of me, and he wants to go into firefighting. They're both are really family oriented, and his mom has stage 4 lung cancer, and is doing a lot to take care for her. His mom is like his world, and he wants to help her through this time. So that she's real close to her family, but when she told them about this experiment, they were just not having it. They haven't showed them. They don't seem open to it. They were wondering why she's doing this. But she said she's a strong person and she thinks this is a good thing, so she's going through with it. The last couple is Doug and Vaughn. No, Doug and Jamie. Sorry. Doug and Jamie. And Jamie's a real pretty girl. She's a registered nurse. He's some kind of computer salesman, some kind of salesman. But he had fell down on his luck and he had moved back home with his parents. But his parents and his family are so supportive. And it's all that she said that she wanted. She wanted a family. I mean, like I said, but that attraction, when they show Doug, he's just not attractive. He's a good guy. You know, he gets stuck in that friend zone, in my opinion. He hasn't had a relationship in 2 years, and that's probably because he gets stuck in that friend zone, because, I mean, he's not attractive, and the girl is a real pretty girl. So they were the first marriage that they actually let us see them seeing each other for the first time, and her brother walks her down the aisle, and she was like, you know, in the commentary, she's like, he's not attractive. So the Justice of Peace, or whoever this lady is that's marrying them, she gets down to it, and she's like doing the vows and all this, and introduced it. Well, first they introduced him. How he got nervous and he introduced himself, but the person was supposed to. And he's like, I'm Doug, and she's like, oh, I'm Jamie, and then he's like, well, Jamie last name and his last name, and then they get into the vows, and he do him first, and he's like, yeah, I do, and then they get down to her, and she's just quiet, and then she says, I'm sorry, and of course, the chorus, that's where they end the show. But I don't think she's going to go through with it because she's just not physically attracted to them. I know, in my personal opinion, attraction is not the best, because if I was to show you pictures of all of my relationships, major relationships, they are all so different, all also different. And physical is really not, you know, the key base. I need somebody that has the personality or whatever. But for her, physical, just like, especially going into this type of situation. But we'll see what happens, and I will keep you guys in tune. But I just was really blown away by the show and felt like I wanted to share it with you guys. So if you watch it, comment, subscribe, whatever. Bye.